Alright, I've had some students ask me about the homework 3.3 on the graphing because they're having a hard time graphing the points when you come out with an answer where ordered pairs are fractions. And so I want to show you how to avoid that so you can avoid any frustrations that you have. So if you take this equation that you have on this certain homework problem and you try and solve using the intercepts, that's what's causing some of the problems. So if I'm trying to find the x-intercept, all right, remember that means I'm going to let y equal 0 and then solve for x. So when I do that in this case, I have 2x minus 0 equals -3, and then on this one I'd have to divide by 2 to get x by itself. So then I end up with x equals -3/2 or -1.5. Alright, and even though the grid will move in half increments, you're not always going to have it with, 2 at the bottom. Sometimes it's going to be, your denominator is 3 or 4, and then you're not going to be able to graph it on here. So, so this is what I'm talking about. So if you're graphing, trying to use intercepts, then you might come across these with the fractions. But instead, if you decide to use a table of values, so let me start off again here with the equation, and I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to get it so that y is by itself, so I can do a table of values. So that means I'm going to subtract my 2x over, and I'll have -y equals -2x minus 3. And then to get y by itself, I still need to divide everything by a -1. So that will give me y equals 2x, as a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and then plus 3. So now that I have it in this form, like I said, I can make a little table of values. And you only need to have 2 points in order to graph on this program. If you were graphing just, freehand, it'd be best to have 3 or more points. But let's look at this. So if I went ahead and I can pick anything for my x. And when I do that, maybe I'll pick 1, because it's a nice easy number, and I'll pick 0, right? So I'm trying to pick things that will be small and something that will fit on this grid, because you'll notice that one other thing that might happen when you're graphing is that your point ends up off the grid and then you can't get it graphed on there, and so that can be really frustrating also. So if I do this with the table of values, I'm just going to have 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 3 gives me 5. So I just found an ordered pair of 1, 5. And so I will use that point. And then I'll use another one where my x is 0. So we'll do 2 times 0, which is 0, plus 3 gives me 3. So I end up with another point, which is 0, 3. So if I go over here to draw this on here, right, I need to have 2 points to do this with, and it doesn't matter which one you start off with. So I'll start off with my 1, 5. So if I go over 1, up 5, see how it's almost off the grid too, so you got to be really careful there. Right, and then you can see that this line just kind of, rotates around until I give it a stopping point. And so the stopping point on that was 0, 3 was my other point. So over 0, up 3 would be there. And now I can submit that and see if I have that correct. And there we go. So there's a way to graph it so that you don't end up with any ordered pairs that have any fractions in it. Okay, I hope that was helpful for you. And please message me if you find that you need, something else as far as a video goes that you think might be helpful. I'm more than happy to do that for you. Okay?